76-66. The Boilermakers stopped the bleeding. They had lost 4 games in a row. They needed this. They got it. UCLA, a good team, an NCAA tournament team. The performances tonight, Braden Smith, if there was ever a guy that was going to get him going, it was going to be him. He's kind of as good of a player we have in college basketball at that next level behind the top two, behind Cooper Flagg and Janai Broome when it comes to player of the year. Braden Smith was 8 of 17 from the field, hit 6 threes. He was 60%, 6 of 10 from the outside, 23 points. And Trey Kaufman ran. He was super efficient, 11 of 15, 29 points, and then hit 7 of 10 shots from the free throw line. So they got good play from their stars. They needed it, Jarrell McNeil. They had to stop the bleeding, and that's exactly what Matt Painter and the Boilers did tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was actually a really good game. I got a chance to watch just about all of it. Both teams kind of had it flowing and working early on in the first half. Neither team was really able to clamp down and get stops consistently. UCLA, I felt like they did a really good job. I was impressed by them just because I felt like this team has shown some maturity just throughout the progression of the season. I feel like, a couple weeks ago, this team probably would have folded a lot earlier. But, man, you got to give them credit. They kept it close. And, you just felt that, at Mackey, at Purdue, those guys just kept coming and kept coming. And every time they kind of got on the brink of just busting the game open and making a run, UCLA would hit a really tough shot. But it eventually caught up to them right around that 6-minute mark in the second half. Purdue was able to go on like a 7 or 8-0 run or something like that. Braden Smith was fantastic again, man. Obviously, we can't say enough about him. He hit like 2 dagger threes, which were just like backbreakers, and Kaufman Wren was great as well too. They didn't have an answer for him inside, but it was a really well played game for the most part. The only real difference in the game I feel like was just they weren't able to get stops at all really against Purdue, and they shot it a lot better from 3 tonight than UCLA did. I think they were close to like 50% from 3, like 11 for 20 something or something like that. So they really shot the cover off the ball from long range. UCLA wasn't able to get as many of those looks to go, even though they still shot close to 50% from the 2. But those guys, 2 stars, took their game over in crunch time, and they did what they needed to do. So it was a much needed good home win for Purdue, but also impressive fight from UCLA as well.
Yeah, it was a bounce back moment that they needed, Childers, right? And Jarrell, you said that it was Purdue that made a run late. It wasn't Purdue; it was Braden Smith that made that run late. He had, there were a couple plays on the stretch. He gets in this habit where, sometimes they're a little too reliant on running him off of those ball screens. Like, all right, Braden, we're going to get you to that little right hand pull up, right? And today, he's so quick going right that when he jabs right and gets to his left, like there were like 4 or 5 plays, straight possessions in the second half where he was able to free himself up just because of the threat that he has going one direction. He had the jab step 3 that he made over Bilodeau when they were down by 1, right? He tracked down a loose ball. They regained possession, and the shot clock's running down afterwards, and he just kind of jabs and raises up and hits a 3 over a 6'10" guy, and that was the dagger that got them back in the lead and kind of set them going down the stretch. I think so. This game is kind of it's a double-edged sword for me, right? Because I think that it was something that Purdue had to get. Like, they got to right the ship. They got to get this momentum going in the right direction. You're coming off of 4 straight losses. You get UCLA at home. I get it, man, right? 3 of those 4 were on the road. You also lost to Wisconsin in your own building. Like, it's not like at Michigan, Wisconsin, at Michigan State, at Indiana is an easy stretch of games. So you can kind of justify it a little bit with that. But you had to get this win, and it was Trey Kaufman-Wren, 29 points on 11-15 shooting, right? It was Braden Smith, 23-8, 4 steals. It was Fletcher Lawyer, who had 11 points. Combined, they had 64 of Purdue's 76. And it's kind of a microcosm of both what allows Purdue to win and also one of the biggest flaws that this team has, where they have 3 guys that are capable of, when they play well, beating anybody in college basketball, right? Trey Kaufman rank can get you 29 on any given day and do it super efficiently. Braden Smith is the best point guard in college basketball for very obvious reasons. And Fletcher Loyer is a guy, we've seen him go for 20, sometimes 30, like on any given night. Like, he is a threat to get hot and take over a game on his own. But it's kind of those, like the big three, and then there's a drop off. So it's nice to see those guys get going here. But I also think it's a piece of evidence on why Purdue, despite having those three guys that are so good, can be somewhat limited this season and are probably a little bit matchup dependent in the tournament, and aren't quite at the level of, in my opinion, a Michigan State or Wisconsin when it comes to being a threat to make a run in March.